You just failed at something. Maybe 5 minutes ago. Maybe this morning. Your brain is already replaying it in high definition with director's commentary. It feels like the truth about who you are. It isn't.
Nope.
What you're feeling right now is not new. It's not even yours, really. It's a leftover reflex from a brain built 200,000 years ago, running on hardware nobody ever bothered to update. Your ancestors didn't fail quizzes. They didn't send an email to the wrong person and watch it get read immediately.
Nope.
They failed hunts.
You suck!
They missed the predator hiding in the grass. And their brains learned something huge from every one of those moments. Something that, weirdly, is still steering your Tuesday. Here's the strange part. The fix for how you handle failure was found by accident, decades ago, in a psychology lab, by a guy who wasn't even trying to fix it. Let's go back. In the 1960s, a psychologist named Martin Seligman was running experiments on dogs. Some dogs got mild shocks they could stop by pressing a lever. Genius dogs. Lever dogs. Living their best life. Other dogs got the exact same shocks with no lever at all. Nothing they did changed a thing. Just vibes and electricity. Later, every dog got put in a box where escaping was easy. One small hop over a low wall. That's it. The lever dogs figured it out immediately, probably feeling very smug about it. But the dogs who'd learned nothing they did mattered? They just lay down and took it. Not because they couldn't jump, because some part of them had concluded that trying was a waste of a perfectly good nap.
Damn!
Seligman called this learned helplessness. And here's the part that should make you sit up. You do this too. Just with fewer shocks and more group chats. You try something, it doesn't work. You try again, also doesn't work. And somewhere in there, a switch flips. You don't consciously decide to give up.
Nope.
Which honestly would at least be a decision. Your brain just quietly reclassifies effort as pain and starts scouting exits before you've even finished trying. Sounds bleak. Stick with me.
Hey, listen.
Because Seligman didn't stop there either. Decades later, he flipped the question. Not, why do some people give up? But, why do some people not give up, even when things are equally terrible? And the answer had nothing to do with the failure itself. It was about the story the brain wrote about the failure in the 60 to 120 seconds right after it happened. Basically, a tiny, unsupervised newsroom operating directly out of your skull. And it is not fact-checking anything.
Nada.
People who bounced back fast told themselves the failure was temporary, specific, not a referendum on their entire existence.
Nope.
That approach didn't work. Instead of, I am, and always have been, a disaster. People who spiraled went the other direction. Permanent. Everywhere. Personal. I always mess this up, said with the confidence of someone who has never once collected data on how often they actually mess things up.
Nope.
Same failure. Two entirely different headlines. Now here's where your ancestors barge back in, because this reflex predates language, group chats, and the concept of seen at 2:14 p.m. Picture yourself on the savannah 80,000 years ago. You throw a spear. You miss. Your brain doesn't just log missed spear throw. It runs a full survival audit in about a quarter of a second. Was that a fluke? Or is something deeply wrong with me as a spear thrower and possibly as a person? Because if something is deeply wrong with you, the efficient move is to hand the spear to someone else and quietly step back before dinner becomes a group referendum on your competence.
You suck, you jackass.
That instinct to blow one failure up into a permanent identity kept people alive. If you truly were the worst thrower in the group, better to find out fast and step aside, rather than die on principle. Brutal, but efficient, for a species living one bad week away from an empty stomach. The problem is, that ancient alarm system cannot tell the difference between missing a spear throw and replying all to the whole company by accident.
Nope.
It treats both like a 5-alarm fire. Same siren, wildly different stakes. So what do you actually do with a 200,000-year-old smoke detector that goes off every time you make toast. You don't rip it off the ceiling.
Nope.
You can't really. What you can do is catch it in the small window right after failure happens, before the story hardens into identity and moves in permanently, unpacking boxes, hanging up curtains. Researchers building on Seligman's work found something almost embarrassingly simple. The people who bounced back fastest did one small thing in the immediate aftermath of failing. They named it, specifically, out loud or in their head within about 2 minutes. Not, "I failed." That's a headline written by a very lazy editor. Instead, "That pitch didn't land because I rushed the opening." Not, "I'm bad at relationships," which is a 200,000-year-old caveman talking. But, "I got defensive in that one conversation, at that one moment, for that one reason." Specific, contained, time-stamped, like a crime scene, except the only crime is being slightly human.
Damn.
It sounds too small to matter. But think about what's actually happening in that window. Your brain is deciding, right now, whether this becomes a story about one event, or a story about you, forever, in permanent marker. Naming it specifically is basically telling the vague, catastrophizing version of the story that the lease is up and it needs to leave.
Bye, Felicia.
Try it next time something goes sideways. Give yourself 2 minutes. Not to spiral, not to write yourself a strongly worded performance review, just to say precisely what happened. Then close the file. This feels harder than it should, and that's not a personal failing either.
Nope.
Vague catastrophizing is the laziest possible thought your brain can generate. "I always do this" costs 0 effort. It's a template sitting right there on the shelf, preloaded, because ancient brains needed fast conclusions, not accurate ones. Being specific costs about half a second more. That half second is basically the entire game. Think about the last time you watched someone genuinely skilled fail in public. An athlete shanking a shot. A chef torching a dish on live television in front of judges who are visibly disappointed in them as people.
You suck, you jackass.
Watch what they do in the next 10 seconds. The fast recoverers almost never say, "I'm terrible at this."
Nope.
They say something absurdly, almost comically specific. "I released too early. The pan was too hot." They are not being modest. They are doing, instinctively, exactly what Seligman's most resilient subjects did. They are keeping the failure exactly the size it actually is, instead of letting it metastasize into a whole personality.
Damn.
You've probably done the opposite more times than you'd like to admit. One awkward sentence in a meeting, replayed for the rest of the day as Exhibit A that you don't belong there. One skipped workout, replayed as ironclad proof you'll never stick to anything, ever, in your entire life.
Nada.
Your ancient brain doing exactly what it was built for, turning a single data point into a life sentence with no possibility of parole. Here's the reframe, and it's really the whole point of everything Seligman found. The failure was never the dangerous part.
Nope.
The story you tell about it in the 2 minutes afterward, that's the part deciding whether you show up and try again tomorrow. So, next time you miss the mark, whatever it is, give yourself those 2 minutes. Not to feel better about it, to be accurate about it. Name exactly what happened and exactly what didn't. Nothing more, and definitely nothing about your worth as a human being. Your ancestors needed a hair-trigger alarm to survive a world where one real mistake could be the last one they ever made.
Oh, shit.
You don't live in that world anymore. Somebody forgot to tell the alarm though, and it's still going off every time you drop the ball on something that, a week from now, will barely register.
Nada.
You just failed at something. Maybe 5 minutes ago. Maybe this morning. This time, name it. Then, let it go.